19th, 2019. It's my birthday today. I turned 54. It is 11:49 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in Rochester, New York, in the United States. And today I wanted to talk about something called caffeine intoxication or caffeine psychosis. Um, Caffeine, even in regular amounts, can trigger panic attacks in people, whether they're mentally ill or not. And caffeine is found in a lot of places. And caffeine intoxication or caffeine psychosis is when you've had so much caffeine, you lose touch with reality. You have panic attacks, anxiety attacks, but even psychotic symptoms like hallucinating and becoming delusional, paranoid. Caffeine, even in regular amounts in healthy people, can still cause anxiety and panic attacks. Caffeine intoxication and caffeine psychosis happen when you've taken in so much caffeine, you've lost touch with reality, on top of panic, anxiety, fear, nervousness, rapid heartbeat, rapid breathing, high blood pressure, sweating. Um, Caffeine is found in obvious places like coffee, tea, chocolate, Pepsi, Coke, Mountain Dew. But there are also some places where caffeine is present where people are not necessarily aware that they're taking caffeine. I'm speaking specifically about migraine over the counter headache medication, like Excedrin or the generic equivalents of Excedrin, which can contain about 65 milligrams of caffeine, some amount of aspirin, and some amount of Tylenol. So you're taking three drugs at once. Um, Caffeine does seem to help in migraine headaches, and that's why they put it in. But a lot of people might buy Excedrin or the generic equivalent of it, that one of the store brands, and taking caffeine without even realizing it, and because they didn't meet the label. Caffeine is also found in, of course, energy drinks with a ton of sugar, and those can cause panic attacks and anxiety attacks and fear and rapid heartbeat and sweating. If you take in enough caffeine, whether you know it or not, of how much you're taking in, because you, for example, you didn't know it was an Excedrin, and you drink a lot of energy drinks. If you have caffeine psychosis, you might start hallucinating, and become delusional, and that's possible even if you're not mentally ill. Um, Dying from overdose of caffeine is very difficult. I mean, I would think it would be a very uncomfortable death, even if you took the amount of caffeine you needed to commit suicide. It would be extremely uncomfortable way to die. It's uncomfortable just to have caffeine in your system and you have panic attacks and anxiety attacks, and that's even at regular amounts. Um, but caffeine psychosis is a real thing. Caffeine intoxication is another name for it. Um, if you're somebody who drinks like 10 cups of coffee a day, you need to cut back. I mean, that's just common sense. And the problem with caffeine is if you mix it with sugar, you're going to get really energized, but might start having psychiatric symptoms from it. Um, my personal goal was to have no more than 2 cups of coffee a day, and I really don't have too much more than 2 cups of coffee a day. I've had problems with caffeine in the past. I used to take caffeine tablets, which are about 200 milligrams each. Um, that's separate from Excedrin. Excedrin actually has pain medication and aspirin, Tylenol, along with the caffeine. Caffeine tablets are just 100% caffeine, and they come in dosages from anywhere from 100 to 200 milligrams a piece. And if you did, what I used to do is like take 5 or 6 of those pills a day. That's the equivalent of like 20 cups of coffee a day, and that's not a good thing. Caffeine tablets are something you should avoid, um, because they have quite a bit of caffeine in them. Even if you take just one, you may be taking in 200 milligrams of caffeine, pure caffeine. But so caffeine addiction is real. Caffeine intoxication, caffeine psychosis. If you have a psychosis to begin with, you should probably cut back on your caffeine or eliminate it altogether. I know a lot of people who are mentally ill are on medications and they drink caffeine to try to help stay awake because antipsychotic medications, anti anxiety medications, and antidepressant medications sometimes cause you to be drowsy. And if you're like I am, I'm on I think 5 different psychiatric drugs and 3 medical ones. I take medication for enlarged prostate, gastroesophageal reflux disorder, or acid reflux. Um, and I take another medication. I can't remember what it was for. But the other 5 medications I'm on can make me very drowsy, and I do drink moderate amounts of caffeine to try to wake up. I know some people are psychotic who take way too much caffeine in, and that only makes their symptoms worse. Because again, caffeine can cause problems even if you don't, excuse me, have an underlying mental illness. Caffeine intoxication, caffeine psychosis is extremely uncomfortable. I've been there before. So if you're mentally ill, or even if you're not mentally ill, you might want to watch your caffeine and be aware of caffeine where it's present, where you might not have known that it was present. Like I said, in Excedrin, which is an over-the-counter medication. I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't take anything. I just think it's common sense that if you have mental illness, you need to moderate how much caffeine you can take in, or maybe even eliminate caffeine from your diet altogether. It's found in so many places like chocolate and Coke and Mountain Dew and Pepsi Cola and all the rest of it, energy drinks. Um, it would be best if you cut back on those kinds of things. Um, Otherwise, you might find yourself doing what I used to do, is end up at the psychiatric emergency room because I took in way too much caffeine, and that's just a waste of everybody's time and money. So, subscribe, like, comment, share, give advice if you want in my comment section. That's all for now.